You know what keeps me up at night? It's not the standings. It's not even the next game on the schedule. It's thinking about what this Lakers team could become. And right now, sitting here at my desk, looking at everything that's happening across the league, I can't shake this feeling that something huge is starting in Los Angeles. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, the place where you get the most updated news, the hottest takes, and the inside scoop on our beloved purple and gold. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because what I'm about to break down today might just change everything you thought you knew about this season's championship hopes. Let me paint you a picture. 18 wins, 7 losses, third in the Western Conference. This isn't some crazy dream. This is our reality right now. When the season started, everyone had expectations, sure. But I don't think anyone truly understood just how great this trio of LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves would be together. The chemistry has been electric. The play has been perfect. And DeAndre Ayton fitting into that front court rotation, that's just been the cherry on top. We're watching a team that's not just meeting expectations. We're watching a team that's changing what this team can be in the modern time. But here's where it gets interesting, and I need you to stay with me on this, because what I'm seeing across the league right now has my mind racing with possibilities. Championship teams aren't built in comfort zones. Championship teams are built by front offices willing to make bold decisions, by organizations willing to take smart risks when the chance shows itself. And when I look at where we are right now, when I see the pieces we have, the assets we control, and most importantly, the time we have to win with LeBron still playing at a top level, I can't help but ask myself, are we one move away from being unstoppable? Think about it. Our depth is solid. Our starting five can compete with anyone in the league on any given night. But in the playoffs, when rotations get smaller, when every possession matters, when the margin between winning and losing becomes very thin, you need more than solid. You need exceptional. You need players who have been there before, who understand the pressure, who can deliver when the lights are brightest. And that's exactly what has me so excited about what could possibly happen before the trade deadline. Now, I want you to imagine something with me for a second. Close your eyes if you have to picture our current roster. The way LeBron runs the offense, the way Luka can take over games in the fourth quarter, the way Austin has developed into a real two-way threat, that's already a nightmare matchup for any team in the league. But what if, and I'm asking you to really think about this, what if we could add another part to that attack? What if we could bring in someone who has championship experience, someone who has proven time and time again that they can perform on the biggest stage, someone who already has chemistry with not just one, but 2 of our main players? The trade deadline is coming, and across the league, teams are making plans. Some are going all in, some are giving up and planning for next season. And then there are teams stuck in that uncomfortable middle. Teams that thought they'd be contenders, but are facing the harsh reality that their current team just isn't working. Dallas is one of those teams. Even with having talent, even with having pieces that should in theory fit together, they're struggling. They're disappointed. And when disappointment sets in, that's when front offices start answering phone calls they might have ignored a month ago. Here's what's interesting about the current situation. The Mavericks are sitting on a roster that hasn't lived up to expectations this season. They've got players who are getting interest from contending teams, and the whispers around the league are getting louder by the day. Now, there is one name in particular that keeps coming up in these conversations. A name that might sound familiar to Lakers fans. A name that represents both incredible talent and clear risk. But before we get there, let me ask you something. How far are you willing to go to win a championship this year? Are you the type of fan who wants to play it safe, run it back with what we have, and hope it's enough? Or are you the type of fan who believes that when you have a real shot at a title, you do whatever it takes to make that chance as big as possible? I've been covering this team for years, and I've learned one thing about championship windows. They don't stay open forever. LeBron isn't getting younger, even though he's still beating Father Time on a nightly basis. Luka is in his prime right now. This is the moment. This is when you have to be aggressive. This is when you have to look at every possible way to upgrade your team, even if it means making moves that might seem unusual or risky on the surface. So, let's talk about what's actually possible here. The Lakers have assets. They have players that other teams want. Rui Hachimura has been fantastic in the starting lineup, giving that ability on both ends of the floor. Jared Vanderbilt brings defensive intensity and energy. Jake LaRavia has shown flashes of potential. And of course, we have draft picks. Those precious first-round picks that can make any deal better. The question isn't whether we have the pieces to make a big trade. The question is whether we're willing to give them up for the right player. And that brings me to the player I've been talking around this whole time. The player who could change everything. The player who, even though he's currently out with an ACL injury, represents one of the most talented guards in the entire league. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving. Yes, you heard that right. Kyrie Irving to the Lakers is not just some wild dream. It's a real possibility that's being talked about, and the more I look into it, the more sense it actually makes. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Kyrie is injured. He tore his ACL last season and doesn't have a timeline for return yet. Why would we trade valuable assets for a player who can't help us right now? And those are fair questions, real concerns that any reasonable fan should have. But let me explain why this could be the exact type of move that separates good teams from championship teams. First, let's talk about fit. Kyrie Irving isn't just any star player. He's a player with direct connections to our main guys. Remember when he and LeBron won a championship together in Cleveland? That wasn't just any championship. That was one of the most unlikely comebacks in NBA Finals history. Down 3-1 against a 73-win Warriors team. Kyrie hit one of the biggest shots in Finals history in that series. He knows how to play with LeBron. He understands how to work next to a superstar who has the ball a lot. That chemistry doesn't just go away, but it gets even better. Kyrie also has history with Luka Doncic. They played together in Dallas. And while that partnership didn't end in a championship, anyone who watched them play together saw the potential. Two great ball handlers who can create for themselves and others, who can take turns running the offense, who can both close games in the important moments. Now, imagine that partnership, but with LeBron James added to the mix. Imagine the offensive versatility. Imagine the pick-and-roll combinations. Imagine the fourth-quarter situations where you have three players on the floor who can get you a basket whenever you need it. The numbers back this up, too. Last season, before the injury, Kyrie was averaging 24.7 points per game. He was shooting 47% from the field and over 40% from three-point range. He was adding nearly 5 rebounds and 5 assists per game. This isn't a player who's getting worse. This is a player who was playing at an all-star level before the injury happened. And while ACL injuries are serious, We've seen many players return from them and continue to play at top levels. Modern sports medicine has come a long way. The recovery plans are more advanced than ever. There's every reason to believe that Kyrie can return and be the same player he was before the injury. So, what would a trade actually look like? Based on the assets we have and what Dallas might want in return, we're probably looking at a deal centered around Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jake LaRavia, plus multiple first-round picks. That's not a small price to pay. Losing Rui would hurt, because he's been so solid in that starting lineup. But you have to ask yourself, would you rather have Rui Hachimura or Kyrie Irving when both are healthy? Would you rather have depth pieces or another real superstar who can take over playoff games? The draft picks are always tough to give up because they represent future options. But here's the reality. We're not rebuilding. We're not in a position where we need to worry about what the team looks like 5 years from now. We have LeBron James right now. We have Luka Doncic right now. This is about winning championships in the present, not saving assets for some possible future that may never come. You use those picks to get win-now talent. And Kyrie Irving, even with the injury concerns, represents exactly that type of talent. Now let's address the big issue, the injury. Kyrie is currently recovering from a torn ACL, and there's no clear timeline for his return. That's a real risk factor that can't be ignored. If we make this trade, we're essentially betting on his recovery, betting that he can return to form, betting that the medical staff's check is correct. But here's the thing about championship teams. They take smart risks. They don't play it safe when a chance shows itself to really improve the team. And getting Kyrie, even if he doesn't return until later in the season or even the playoffs, could be that difference maker we need. Think about the playoff rotation for a second. If Kyrie returns healthy, even if it's in March or April, you're talking about having LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Austin Reeves as your main ball handlers and creators. That's an embarrassment of riches. That's the type of offensive firepower that can beat any defensive plan. You can't double-team everyone. You can't game plan against that much talent. Someone is always going to have an advantage. Someone is always going to be able to beat the defense. The defensive end is where some concerns might come up. And that's fair. Kyrie has never been known as a lockdown defender. But in our system, with the pieces we have around him, that becomes less of a problem. We have defenders. We have length. What we need is someone who can get us a basket when the offense stops. Someone who can create space. Someone who can hit big shots in big moments. That's Kyrie's specialty. That's what he's built his career on. There is also the question of whether Dallas would even be willing to make this trade. Reports have suggested that the Mavericks might want to keep Kyrie, even though their season has started badly. They might see him as a key piece for the future, especially if they're planning to build around Cooper Flagg or other young talent. But here's the other side. If Dallas is serious about changing things, if they're serious about making changes to a team that clearly isn't working right now, then moving Kyrie, while he's injured, but still has big value, makes sense. They'd be getting back rotation players who can help right away, plus draft picks that can be used to keep building for the future. It's not an easy decision for them, but it's one that could make sense for both sides. From our point of view, this is about making our championship time as big as possible. This is about looking at the Western Conference and asking ourselves honestly, are we good enough to beat a healthy Denver team in a 7-game series? Are we good enough to handle Phoenix if they get hot? Are we good enough to outlast Golden State or the Clippers in a playoff fight? Right now, we're competitive with all of those teams, but competitive isn't enough. We need to be dominant. We need to be the team that other teams are afraid of. Adding Kyrie Irving, even with the injury concerns, moves us closer to that. I want to be clear about something, though. This isn't about disrespecting the players we'd be trading away. Rui has been fantastic. Vanderbilt brings energy and toughness. LaRavia has potential. But championship teams make tough decisions. Championship teams put star power and proven performance over depth and potential. And when you have the chance to add a player of Kyrie's level, a player who has won at the highest level, a player who has chemistry with your two best players, you have to seriously think about it. The timeline is also worth thinking about. Even if Kyrie doesn't return until late March or early April, that still gives him time to fit into the system before the playoffs. It gives him time to build chemistry with the guys, to learn the plays, to understand the rotations. And having him available for a possible playoff run, even if he's not quite at 100%, is better than not having him at all. You're talking about adding a third closer, a third guy who can take and make big shots when everything is on the line. That's priceless in the postseason. I've been thinking about this possible move nonstop, and the more I look at it, the more excited I get about the possibilities. Imagine a closing lineup with LeBron, Luka, Kyrie, Austin, and Ayton. That's 2 real playmakers who can run the offense. That's 3 guys who can create their own shot. That's enough shooting to keep defenses honest. That's size and rebounding with Ayton in the middle. That's a lineup that can compete with anyone in the league. And more importantly, that's a lineup built for playoff basketball, where everything slows down and half-court play becomes most important. The optimist in me, and I'm always an optimist when it comes to this team, sees this as the move that could define our season. We're already playing well. We're already doing better than expected. But great teams don't settle for good enough. Great teams push the limits. Great teams take swings when the chance shows itself. And if Rob Pelinka and the front office can pull off a trade for Kyrie Irving, even with the injury concerns, even with the assets we'd have to give up, I think we'd look back on it as the move that put us over the top. Of course, there are no promises in this league. Injuries happen. Chemistry can be unpredictable. Trades don't always work out the way you hope. But that's the nature of professional sports. You make the best decision you can with the information you have. And you trust that your choice is correct. Everything I'm seeing tells me that Kyrie Irving, if healthy, makes us a better team. Everything I'm seeing tells me that the risk is worth the reward. Everything I'm seeing tells me that this is the type of move that championship teams make. So here's where we are. The Lakers are sitting at 18-7, playing excellent basketball and looking like a real threat in the Western Conference. The trade deadline is coming, and chances are appearing across the league. Kyrie Irving, even though he's injured, represents a possible target that could change our team from very good to truly great. The cost would be big, but the result could be a championship. And isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that why we watch every game? Why we look at every move? Why we put so much feeling into this team? We want to see banners hanging in the rafters. We want to see parades down Figueroa Street. We want to feel that championship feeling again. This is the type of move that creates debate, and I want to hear from you. What do you think about the possibility of trading for Kyrie Irving? Are you willing to give up Rui, Vanderbilt, Laravia, and multiple first-round picks for a player who's currently injured, but has proven championship experience? Do you think the risk is worth the possible reward? Do you believe that adding Kyrie to a core of LeBron and Luka creates an unstoppable force in the Western Conference? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I read every single one, and I want to know where Lakers Nation stands on this possible blockbuster move. As we head toward the trade deadline, I'll be here breaking down every development, every rumor, every piece of information that comes across my desk. This is Lakers News Fan Report, your home for the most complete coverage of our beloved team. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button. If you want to stay updated on all the latest news and analysis, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Share this with your fellow Lakers fans, because this is a conversation we all need to be having. The championship window is open right now, and how we handle the next few weeks could decide whether we're cutting down nets in June or wondering what could have been. I'll see you in the next one. Go Lakers! Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. We're doing awesome. Please subscribe if you like the videos. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Have an awesome day.